So a lot of you guys asked me, hey, what was the build you were running during the last video? And I asked you if you guys wanted me to make a build video of it, and you said yes, please do. And some of you guys aren't new to the division, some of you guys are, and you probably didn't see this build back in the day, and this is probably one of the #1 builds we used to run. Like, this was like, I want to say probably the build that everybody had to run if you wanted to complete the raid. It was the only way we could create enough damage to drop things. And for us console players, well, we had to use a certain rifle. As you guys are seeing, like, if I don't land a shot, I'm not wasting a bullet. So it's almost like I always have enough bullets to drop all the enemies around me. Now, when I'm not in cover, you'll start to see the missed shots use bullets, but when I'm in cover, that's where this build really shines. So if you guys really like in cover builds, well, this might be a build that you'll bring back to your arsenal. You'll be able to play with this one and have some fun with it. And you can hit up to 4 million damage per bullet if you spec the build right and if you land those headshots. So shouldn't we talk about the build and how I have this bad boy broken down? I think so. So let's get into the build and we'll break it down for you here. So for the specialization, yes, you will need the sharpshooter specialization. This is going to give you an additional headshot damage if you're using a rifle or marksman rifle. And of course, we are using a rifle with this build. Now, the rifle we are going to be using is an M1A, but we want the named M1A if you're on console because its Baker doesn't. It has rifle damage, critical damage. We have a damage to targets out of cover roll, but the reason we want this is because it has perfect lucky shot. And if you guys don't know what that is magazine capacity is increased by 30%. But not only that, missed shots from cover have a 100% chance to return to the magazine. That's why we're in cover. We have that full 19 round mag, yes. And that means we should be able to drop anything that's in our way, being able to hit shots up to 4 million. For the mask, we are running a chest gun mask. This gives us that 10% critical hit chance. We have weapon damage, critical hit chance, and then a critical hit chance mod. Now, ideally with this build, you want to try to get as close to 60% crit chance because that's going to allow you to hit those high damage numbers and drop those enemies fast. For the chest, we are running a Providence chest. We actually have a 2-piece Providence for headshot damage and crit chance. We have weapon damage, headshot damage, critical hit damage, and headshot damage mod on here. For the talent, we have glass cannon. All damage you deal is amplified by 25%. All damage you take is amplified by 50%. So yes, it's high risk, high reward, but if you can pull off using this talent, you will be able to drop those enemies pretty quick. And as you're seeing in this gameplay, we're hitting up to 3.7 million damage. And that's what I'm talking about. Having this chest piece talent gives you that high risk, high reward. So if you're okay with taking that incoming damage and playing from cover, you definitely love this chest piece talent. If we continue with the build for the holster, we have a Grupo Sombra holster that gives us that 15% crit damage. We have weapon damage, headshot damage, and then critical hit damage rolled on here. For the knee pads, we went with Fox Prayer knee pads. We wanted one piece with Overlord, so the Fox Prayer is the perfect piece that gives us that 10% rifle damage. We have weapon damage, damage to targets out of cover, and then we have a critical hit damage roll on. And then we go into the gloves. We have the named gloves, the contracted gloves. These are the Petrov gloves. We're not using the LMG damage, but we have weapon damage on here, damage to armor, and then we have headshot damage. And finally, for the backpack, we have the gift. This is the named backpack by the Providence. Remember, this gives us that additional critical hit chance. Now we have weapon damage, critical hit damage, headshot damage, and then we have a crit hit damage mod. Now, the gift, remember, gives you perfect vigilance, so this increases your total weapon damage by 25%, but taking damage will disable this buff for 3 seconds. Now, the regular vigilance is 4 seconds, so with the perfect vigilance, you save 1 second every time you do take damage. So it definitely helps out if you can get the perfect vigilance, but if you can't, regular vigilance will work. As you guys are seeing here, I had just taken damage and I already got my vigilance back pretty quick. And we'll see if I take any other damage, but this build is absolutely still one of the hardest hitting builds in the game if you love running rifles, right? Like, I personally don't like running rifles anymore, but if you like being in cover, if you like playing this game as a cover shooter, well, this build is going to be the build for you. If we take a look at the stats, right, we can see that we have 52% crit hit chance, 147% crit hit damage, 158% headshot damage, 8% armor damage, Plus we have the 10% damage to targets out of cover. Well, sorry, 18% damage to targets out of cover. And you can definitely see where our damage is coming from. Just a lot of damage on this build. I love running the decoy and the shield with this. I think it works pretty good with this build. And that's the build right there. I can't even remember how long it's been since I've ran this build, but I'm gonna tell you guys, this was the build that we ran for the raid a lot. And I'm talking about a lot of people ran this build because it was the hardest hitting build and it was easy to get those high damage numbers without having a complicated build. And this was it right here, man. This thing still slaps to today. And if you're new, well, it's something new for you to try. If you're old, well, it's something that you might want to revisit if you enjoy running rifles. I personally like switching up my builds all the time. And you guys probably see that with this channel, how I constantly just keep evolving, keep trying different builds, bringing back old builds, testing new builds out, tweaking old builds. I just love it, and I think that's why I still able to create content for you guys. So let me know what you guys think about the build. Do you plan on bringing this bad boy back? Do you plan on testing this build out? Do you want to try it out for yourself? Let me know in the comment section what you guys plan on doing. Hopefully, for the people who asked about this build and they wanted to build a rifle build, well, this is probably one that you could throw in your build playlist. All right, guys, we'll wrap it up here. Appreciate the support. Leave a thumbs up if you found the video useful. But until the next one, nothing but skills out.